Okay, guys, I got an email. It's about prostitution. Young fella wants to become a cop, and he wants to be anonymous, which is totally cool with me. But I'm going to read you the email, and we're going to listen to a story about a hooker. Okay, he enjoys my videos. I'm engaging. He gives a reason why he didn't call the hotline. He's got a bad voice. It's okay, you don't have to call. But usually, and I'm sorry if I don't get back. I got a Twitter account that I don't use, a Facebook account that I barely use, Instagram that I barely use. And when you guys, Gmail, and when you guys ask me questions, I feel bad that I don't get to them. But I will if you call the hotline. He's currently in the process, the RCMP. He wants to become a cop. I'm waiting to I got to get it together. I'm waiting to reschedule my entrance exam due to COVID. Pending the plague doesn't take me out and running nose goes away, I will hopefully get it done soon. My question is this: how long will I get gonged for participating in prostitution? I went to Cuba back in December 2016 and paid a lot more money than I should have for a blowjob. Jeez, that bad, eh? Sounds like you got ripped off. Sorry for your loss. It's proof you don't get what you pay for, I guess. It was not a great experience. Couldn't have been that bad. Unless she's your cousin. I'm not proud of it. I was 22 at the time. I'm 27 now. I'm prepared to go over it in full and honest detail to recruiters, but the facts remain. Within the 5+ years in between, am I looking at a lengthy deferral or short one, or will I get lucky and have enough time in between to avoid it? Partially, why I waited so long to apply was because of this. I can get into my theory of self-sabotage and jazz, but it doesn't seem relevant. Thanks, Clint. Keep pumping them out. Word up. Let's go over this. I guess you were in a dark world. I don't know. Isn't that dark of an art? I mean, some would say it's a fine art, prostitution. Here's my honest opinion about who cares about prostitution? Like, really? Unless it's a sex slave. What is the big deal? Before I was a police officer, I used to watch To Serve and Protect and Cops, and they used to do these sting operations. John would pay a prostitute, and they'd arrest a prostitute for prostitution. And I used to always think, it's so dumb. You know, oh, wow, you got a prostitute off the street that agrees that you can have sex with her for money. I don't understand it. If you have an agreement between two people, I'm getting paid and I get to, what is the issue? Cuba kind of sketchy though, right? Well, what's wrong with a Canadian blowjob? I mean, if you're going to do it. In Dominican Republic, don't even think about it. But, man, I get it. You're in Cuba, you're probably a little sad. Nobody's looking at you, no girls are talking to you. And you want to have a good trip, so you shell out a couple of bucks. I mean, really. Who we hurting, right? I hope the wife doesn't watch this. When you go through the process, dude, keep it simple, okay? You say, I'm prepared to go over it in full, in honest detail. Do you really think that's necessary? Make it simple, okay? And you said you paid too much for the BJ. Don't tell them that, okay? Because they're going to be thinking, well, what would have been an appropriate price? You know, there's no appropriate price, okay? Say it was the biggest mistake of your life, right? Stuff like that, which is, that's what you did say. And save the details. Tell you the truth, I don't know how much BJs are going for now when it comes to being gonged with the RCMP. Maybe somebody else. Is it 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year? When I was in recruiting, I had multiple dudes that, here's the thing, and this might have changed. It changes every day. Recruiting changes every day. But when I was in recruiting, applicants think just because prostitution is legal in like Vegas doesn't mean you're allowed to go to Vegas. They're thinking, because I asked this question to the bigwigs of recruiting. I said, what's the deal here? Well, what did he do wrong? And their what they told me was, if it's illegal in Canada, then you can't do it anywhere else. And at the time, first and foremost, I think you're fine. You're absolutely fine. You were 22. What is it, 5, 6 years later? 5 years later? I think you're totally fine unless they change things. There's been enough time in between. If you do it again, then you're screwed. If you rent a prostitute when you're young and then rent a prostitute when you're 40, you're screwed. I believe. And I believe at the time it was 3-year deferral, but it could have been a 2-year. And that should not stop anybody from applying because all those rules might have changed. If you're younger, the better. You were younger. You can do a lot of things when you're younger, but you can't do a lot of things when you're older and then apply for the RCMP because you ought to know better. You're allowed to dabble here and there with drugs and hookers. And I don't know, some pretty good looking hookers out there right now. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know, but that's what I hear. Here's one thing that I couldn't wrap my head around it. Because I'm gonging a guy when I was in recruiting for having sex with a woman. And the woman agreed to it and was happy with her payment. And I have to gong him because that happened. But yet, the next guy gets in. Let's put it this way. You're allowed to finger bang a sockeye salmon. And I know I've said that before. But you're not allowed to finger bang a prostitute. It's insane to me. It's not like that anymore. Bestiality has changed. But when I was in recruiting, bestiality was penetration only. It was all, I guarantee you, no girl in all of Canada has been convicted of bestiality. It's all guys. Anyways, they had the best defense, Your Honor. I didn't know what gender the horse was. I thought he was gender neutral. That's stupid. I got to edit that out. But I was just surprised. I was surprised that that you can do this to your pet, but you can't do it to a willing subject like a female. And I kind of went off there, but I know there's a point. There's a sentence that I said before that I didn't finish. Yes, I remember. Bestiality has changed. You can no longer have a sexual relationship with your pet. Okay, they've added on to it in the criminal code. Before it was penetration only. Now it's totally different. You can't do all those things to your animals. If you enjoyed that short bag of dicks, you can watch the full episode right here.